If you guys have any ideas of how to ward off animals and make them stop crapping all over my hot tub, please let me know in the comments, because that's nasty. It's real nasty. Nasty. So if you guys are new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it, and consider subscribing if these are the kinds of projects you all like to see. Now, this is a different project than I've ever had before. This is a house, it's not a car. This is my dream house, and it needs a lot of work. If you haven't seen the first episode, go watch it right now, because there is a lot to do. And today we're gonna tackle something that I've been dreading for a little while, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's the pool. And my pool looks more like a swamp, and I need a lot of help. And I think today we're gonna find out a lot about what makes that pool tick and how to fix it, hopefully. So as you can imagine, this house is gonna take up a lot of my time. And as you guys know, I own my own business, so I'm gonna need to be as efficient as possible to make sure that I can still make ends meet. Thankfully, today's sponsor, ShipStation, has me covered. Now, as we all know, this is the most hectic time of the year because everyone puts off shopping until the last minute. And if you have an online store, you know the feeling of getting hit with a ton of orders at once. Now, when you're buried in emails and orders from stressed customers, you'll wish you had ShipStation. ShipStation is your one-stop shop for all of your business shipping needs. It integrates with every platform, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and more, making it easy to manage all your shipping from one simple dashboard. You can easily compare carriers, rates, and delivery times to get the most out of every send. And 98% of companies that use ShipStation for 1 year become customers for life. They can also directly integrate with every shopping cart and storefront, so your products are easier to find, easier to manage, and easier to get into the hands of happy customers. You'll save time, money, and stress during the holiday rush if you go use my promo code in the link in the video description below for a 60-day free trial. That's shipstation.com/Tavarish to get 2 months free. That's shipstation.com/Tavarish. Go check it out right now. So one of the biggest projects that I have in this house is this pool. And while it may look okay on camera, you can actually see that there's a bunch of algae on the bottom, and you can see to the bottom, but that was not the case when we had that big hurricane. This looked like a nasty, nasty pond. It was like neon green. So today, I am gonna do a lot of DIY stuff to the pool, because if you had somebody come out and maintain this pool, I think I got a quote for like $1,500 And the reason why is because this is a 30 by 60 gunite pool made in the 60s, and it is not covered. It's not covered at all. So everything just goes right into the pool, and then it just gets dirty like that. So I'm gonna start cleaning this, because I actually have never swam in this, and I'd love to do it before it gets too cold. So, I don't know what I'm doing. I've watched a few YouTube videos on this, and I think I know what to do. So I have vacuumed this. I have a little pool vacuum, and here's how happy I am doing that. If you like vacuuming in your house, it's way more fun doing it in 10 feet of water. But another thing that you have to do is clean these things called skimmers. And oh boy, okay, so I got these interesting skimmers that make like a little vortex or something. These are called skim-arounds, and if you take these out, you can see how much debris is in there. So just got to clean these out. There you go. Yep, this is DIY pool cleaning. That's good enough. Just put that right back in there. Ooh. That's kind of cool. And now I have to do that for 3 other skimmers, because this pool is gigantic and it has 4 skimmers. So another project, perhaps not for today, is removing this slide and that diving board. Now, while it's cool to have a slide, this thing looks really sketchy. It's a huge liability. I don't want anybody getting hurt, especially not me, because if you fall off that, you go onto concrete. That's not good. Also, this slide looks like it's seen better days. It'll probably be okay with a clean, but this is not gonna fit my large midsection here. So I feel like we just need to make this go bye-bye. Also, that is an insurance risk. So we're gonna remove that at some point. Nobody is going to ever use that, even though it is kind of cool diving into the deep end of the pool, which is 10 feet deep. But the thing that I am going to do today is remove these plants. Now, I don't know what plants they are. They look kind of cool, but the problem is if you go under here, going under a ladder, that's bad luck. You can see that it is blocking the entire way. And if you come over here, you go closer to the deep end of the pool, and there's also some weird wiring here that is absolutely a trip hazard. Then you have to go around here, step over the diving board, some acid and stuff, and then hopefully make your way up to the summer kitchen up there. But this thing needs to go, and also I need to clean up back there. That's where all the pool equipment is. And if you can see over here, those are the old filters that I replaced when I first got the house, and boy, those were fun. Now, going back here, it is a lot more, well, let's just say lived in and sort of dirty. There's this lean-to shack here that we had to remove the top panels of, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to change the filters. And these are the filter housings. There's two of them, 1 and 2. And this has what's called a filter array. And in each of these is like 9 or 7 of these guys, and they're arranged in like a circular pattern. And it is incredibly difficult to do this if you don't know what you're doing, which I definitely didn't. So it took me a while to do, but we got that fixed. And we also fixed this valve. This valve was leaking a bit. And then we had to replace the pump. That was expensive. That was like $2,300. So that's fun. But here is the entire system. Those are the salt cells. That is what tells me if the pool has enough salt in it. I'm not going to check that because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life right now. But over here is all the breaker boxes and stuff, and just a bunch of garbage. So we're going to clean all this stuff up. I would love to do an actual like shack over here, so we'd have room for pool equipment, maybe some toys, make this not out in the elements, and make this generally a lot more presentable. And over here is general trash just on the property line. So I think we can do something about this, because all it's doing is creating a home for mosquitoes, which there are a ton of at the moment. Okay, now on to getting all this stuff to the dumpster. But I wanted to take care of that sort of monstrosity over there. And just like the Sword of Gryffindor, this house has provided. So I have a very rusty machete, and I feel like this is going to do something. I feel like this can cut down a plant. Let's see if that's true. And a 1, and a 2, and a... Hey! See if I can do this thick one. I cannot. I made a mess. But now that the pool is vacuumed and there's only small bits of debris, this is something that my pool robot can handle. And this is what I got. It's a Hayward Tiger Shark QC, and the QC stands for extremely expensive, because this thing was like 1,100 bucks. But this, the carrying case thing, actually came with the house. They used to have one of these, but it broke. And this on its own would have been 300 bucks, but I had to modify this, or I have to modify it, because the stock one comes with a 55-foot cord. 55 feet is probably okay for most pools. This is not most pools, so I had to get a 100-foot cord, which was another $350. So now I'm going to install the cord. I'm going to throw this in the pool, and I'm going to see what our boy does, because he is very hungry. He loves algae and all these little things at the bottom of the pool. But quickly, let me give some attention to the hot tub up here in the summer kitchen. Now, none of that stuff works. So the grill doesn't work, and there's a refrigerator here, also doesn't work. Half the lights are out. The little fan there, seen better days. This one has seen better days. Everything's sort of rusty. The hot tub has a leak in it, so the water is super low. That's not good. This is a very deep hot tub, which is cool, but if the waterfall is on, and yes, there is a waterfall feature, that fills up the hot tub, but then that leaks into something. Maybe it leaks back into the pool. I don't know, but it definitely has some sort of water leakage, so I have to replace an O-ring, or I have to investigate what that is. I also have to investigate who has been crapping all over my hot tub here. Now, we leave the lights on in the back just to ward off any animals that want to do this. Apparently it's not been working because there's a lot of poop around here. So if you guys have any ideas of how to ward off animals and make them stop crapping all over my hot tub, please let me know in the comments, because that's nasty. It's real nasty. Nasty. All right. Gotta drown him first. And to the bottom he goes. It's a lot of cord. And he is off to the races. Now, one thing I like about this Tiger Shark QC is that it has a 4-hour cycle. So basically he just does his thing for 4 hours and he kind of randomly bumps into walls and he goes all the way up to the surface, which is really, really cool. And he's very good at picking up all this algae. So I think we're gonna leave him there for, I guess, a few days. We're gonna clean him out, obviously, after every cycle, but it's gonna take a little while, but I think this is all gonna look much, much better in hopefully 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so let me explain to you what happened over the last 3 weeks. We had a hurricane, and the hurricane wasn't huge. It didn't destroy the house or anything, but it did go directly through this area, and it put a lot of stuff into that pool. Right after that, everybody in the house, including me, got sick, and then continued to get sick over the next few weeks, which meant that the pool was a low priority. What happened with the pool, though, was very interesting, because in the intro video to my house project, you saw that the pool looked like this. And that is because we had the pool off, and the pool was off because when I turned the pool on, everything, all the lines and stuff, they were packed with leaves and debris. That's not good for lines, that's not good for pumps. So I decided that I needed some help because, yeah, I can do the pool on my own, but if me or anybody in my house gets sick, then that means that the pool gets neglected, and then if the pool gets left alone for just a few days or a week, then that means it's gonna turn into a literal swamp. And I don't have that kind of bandwidth. I don't have that kind of time. I have to do projects, I have to do YouTube videos, I have to do a lot of things that don't have to do with this pool. So I think getting some outside help is very, very warranted. What I was not ready for was the price of this outside help.
Hello, this is in regards to the pool we talked about the other day. I was able to get with my boss and work together a plan for a cleanup and a weekly service if you're interested. The total cost for the cleanup, it would take about a month. I'd be there at least 10 hours a week, and doing anything that's required to get it back in shape. The total cost for that month-long cleanup would be about $4,000. And then for a weekly service, it would be $1,200 a month. For me to be there twice a week.
Now let me be clear, a pool of this size is very, very expensive to maintain. It's also quite old, it's like 60 years old, and well, I don't really know all the ins and outs of pool maintenance, so it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve for me. But what I wanted to do is get this to a base level, and then just take care of it, like cleaning out the skimmers and stuff like that. But if somebody's there to help take care of it, that would make my life much, much easier. The bad part is that it cost, as you heard, $4,000 just to clean the pool, and then $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month is a mortgage for most people in this country. But some of you may be asking, why not just resurface the pool and completely redo it? Well, that is about $20,000. Now, if I were to resurface the pool, which I do have a quote for, I would still have to clean it, so I would have to pay that $4,000 or whatever it would cost from any other pool company. And that would be a very, very big cost for me for this house. It just seems kind of insurmountable. But right now, I want a pool that I can look at. I want a pool that I can swim in. I want a pool that doesn't look like a swamp and doesn't have a billion mosquitoes in it. So I'm gonna show you what they did in the last few days. And it actually got a lot better, but then the news gets a little bit worse. So I'll give you the good, and then I'll give you the bad. Okay, so we're up here in my summer kitchen, and this is still leaking, but it's no longer just a pool of mosquitoes. I guess there's acorns and stuff in there. It is a hot tub. We do have to fix a leak. I believe there's a leak in one of the drains right there. But the pool itself is looking much, much better. You can't see to the bottom, unfortunately, because these guys, the guys at the pool company that I hired, they shocked the pool. And what shocking means is that you have to put a lot of chemicals in it to basically shock all the algae and all the crap that's in the pool. And what that does is that makes it a little bit murky, but it also makes it this nice color. It's like a seafoam green. Right now, the pump is working overtime, and I don't know if you could see that right there. The pump, for some reason, is losing prime. And when it loses prime, it puts air into the system and it introduces cavitation, which is really, really bad for a pump. I don't know whether that's, the lines being clogged or something. I don't know much about that, but the people at the pool company said that this was okay, and we'll just run it like this. It's on a pool boost, which means that it's not going through the filters. The filters definitely need to get cleaned out. There's some DE in there, and that's it. It's a whole thing. But right now, the pool is cleaning itself because of the chemicals that they put in here. And let me tell you how much they put in here. This pool, this 30 by 60 pool, requires 1,400 pounds of salt. I think that's a little excessive. I feel like that's pretty salty. Requires 1,400 pounds of salt and 50 pounds of chlorine. And all that stuff is pretty expensive. The salt itself is really hard to get because there's a back order on it. So imagine getting 1,400 pounds, which is a giant pallet delivered to the house, and then they just dump it into the pool. Well, they don't just dump it into the pool, but they have to put it into the skimmers and has to go through the system and stuff. So this is a giant undertaking. It's going to take a few weeks from today, but then hopefully this should all work out. I'm really crossing my fingers here because this is a giant expense, and the house already is a giant expense. It's seeming to be a lot more expensive than I thought, even as a DIY thing. Now over here you can see more of what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of air bubbles that are in the line, and there are skimmers right here, and these are plugged solid. Now what they have to do is they have to run some air or some water this way and that way to get all the crap out of those lines, because if these aren't working, then obviously the pool is only running at half its efficiency and it can't filter the water, and that's exactly what we need here. And right here you can see some algae forming. Now they are going to clean that off. That is the job of my pool robot, but the pool robot is in there. We also left him in there, and he drowned. He lives in here now, and we haven't gotten him out. And they actually recommended to shock the pool with him in it, because then he has all this algae around him, and that algae is going to go bye-bye, because if you pull him out, he's going to be all gross and nasty. Now let me show you what the pump is doing. You could probably hear it from here. So this is the main pump, and oh boy. So I'm not sure if it's losing prime or just has air in the system, but it's producing a ton of air bubbles. Right now it's on pool or spa boost, which means that it's bypassing the filters and it's just giving the lines a nice blow through. But this is going to be the case for the next few days until the pool guys can get here. They have set all this stuff up, and they said that this pump needs to run essentially 14 hours a day just to get the pool sort of up to a certain standard. And then we can sort of tone it back, or we might need to get a second pump, because this one pump may not be big enough for this giant pool. And that's what I was sort of afraid of, but I also knew that this was going to be a giant project. So the waterfall doesn't work. Great. All right, let's try to manually prime these things by just filling them with water. Oh, come on. just like magic, the waterfall works. Woo! And I spoke too soon. Now the waterfall has stopped working and there's no water in here. So there's a air bubble somewhere. Great. Now I'm priming the main pump, or at least getting all the air out of the line. I think that what they did was a backwash, and sometimes air gets in the line if they have this open or something like that, or they're just trying to get a bunch of stuff and blow all the debris out of the line. So there were still some air bubbles trapped. It's almost like a cooling system in a car. Now these pumps are self-priming, but they can only pull like 8 feet. So can you imagine how many feet these lines are to get out to the pool, to the 4 skimmers and all that? So right now, just putting in more water, getting out the air, and then hopefully the pool shouldn't have as many bubbles. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, so 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I got the bubbles out of the pool, the main pool, and that just required getting all the air out of the system. Still might be some air trapped in there, but it's weird because if I turn on the waterfall, then it rushes a bunch of air into the main system. I don't know how they're connected, but I know that there's some sucking of air going on somewhere. Now this pool might be a little bit low because if you look over here, these little diamonds, you want the water to be at or above the middle line there, and this is just below it. So that means the skimmers can't really do their job all that well, even though this one, that one's working pretty well, but we definitely should put some more water in there. I'm gonna wait for the pool guy to get here just to make sure that we're not diluting whatever we have more than we need to. It definitely needs some more water, but this is, man, this is a project. But just for sake of argument, I want to show you how I fill the pool. It's just this. It's this guy right here, and you just open it up and hit. It's very easy to do it with one hand. There we go. Woo! All right. So basically turn that on for like 2 hours, and then the water line increases by 2 inches. Sweet. Now obviously this is going to require a lot more than me just fiddling around and getting air out of the lines. This needs a lot of chemicals, it needs a lot of work, it needs a lot of man hours, and it needs a lot of labor. And hopefully I can get that done sometime soon. It's already looking a lot better, but it's so much more money than I thought we were going to put into this pool and into this project. Now, you guys got a quote of $4,000. You heard that on the recording. What the reality was when they came out here, it's actually $5,000 and $1,200 a month after that. So I don't know if that's reasonable. I assume that it is because of the amount of insane work that it's going to take to clean this thing. And then I'm going to see what I'm going to do with this pool. Maybe I do a custom design inside it. Maybe I just make it really nice and swimmable. Maybe we add some lights. You guys let me know in the comments, because I want this to be a project for all of us. Yeah, so all of it, we're all going to have a pool party. I'm not going to have a pool party. You guys are probably going to pee in it or something. So I know it might not seem like it, but this has been many weeks in the making. These pools do take a while to get from what they call green to clean. And I hope that in the next week or so, I should be able to see to the bottom of this thing and also get my pool robot, which is over there. He lives there now. But until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on pools like this and any other projects you guys might have around your house, you should always build them better, and to do that, you should wrench every day. Thanks for watching.